Mr. Norasta, if I said that right, what's Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution say?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you for a second.
What does Article 4, Section 4 of the United States Constitution say?
Is that the invasion section?
Yes, sir. It says that every state that joins the Union will be protected against invasion, period. What we're seeing across the southern border is an invasion. Look up the Westward Dictionary or any other dictionary, and you'll see that we have a large movement of people from one area to another constitutes an invasion. That's what we're seeing. I'm not asking you any questions. I only have a certain amount of time. Mr. Chairman, I have a suite of legislation I brought forward last January to address our border and national security mess. In light of this hearing, I want to focus on some of these this afternoon. The first is H.R. 776, the Build the Wall Act, which would direct 50% of assets seized from Mexican trafficking cartels toward building the southern border wall. These cartels have been trafficking in day laborers, children, sex workers, deadly Chinese fentanyl and other narcotics, illegal cigarettes. These are huge moneymakers for the cartel. No wonder they're working against us securing the border. And it's time we crack down hard on their financing and then use that crackdown fund to generate greater security for our southern border. I'm proud to be the lead House sponsor of this legislation along with Senator Ted Cruz of Texas, who named his version the El Chapo Act as a nod toward which cartel he is specifically concerned about. Mr. Blair, I want to thank you for the excellent written testimony you provided today on the Mexican cartels and how they operate. The second is the Terrorist Deportation Act, H.R. 778. This bill would make automatic deportation proceedings of any non-citizen in the terrorist screening database from which we derive the no-fly list. That's why the bill's nickname has been the no-fly bye-bye bill. Mr. Chairman, CBP confirms that 294 illegal aliens on the terror watch list have been apprehended at the southwest border in fiscal year 2023 out of 35,433 illegal aliens apprehended at the border with criminal connections. But those are only the ones we caught. We have no idea how many people are in our country, how many terrorists are coming across that are gotaways, never had any touch with law enforcement. They just are in the country. The numbers that you hear that are reported by the government or by the media are apprehension rates, the people we had contact with law enforcement in some way. What about the ones that just came across the border, and we know that they come across the border without any contact with law enforcement? Thirdly, I want to discuss H.R. 779, the no Social Security for illegal aliens. Mr. Rector, in your testimony, you go into depth into the fiscal cost of illegal immigration, especially the strain illegal immigrants put on the social safety net, the magnet that government welfare programs provide for illegal immigration into the United States. Not only the strain on the federal government, but also the state services like schools and health care at the state level. So thank you for that. My bill addresses those two magnets. Finally, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the recent regrettable Twitter remarks from a member of this committee talking about her need for more illegal immigrants in her district to boost her redistricting efforts. She said the quiet part out loud, Democrats want more illegal immigrants in their districts to help them win elections. That's wrong. I'm proud to have sponsored H.R. 149, protecting our democracy by preventing foreign citizens from voting, which would deny federal funds to any jurisdiction that allows non-citizens to vote in their elections. I'm glad that Senator Marco Rubio of Florida is sponsoring the Senate companion bill. I've also co-sponsored numerous bills with my Republican counterparts to ensure that schemes like those from Ms. Clark are foiled by ensuring that only citizens be counted in the census for purposes of making district proportional. I ask my colleagues to join my effort on these efforts of important pieces of legislation, as well as H.R. 777, the Visa Overstay Enforcement Act, H.R. 780, the Mobilizing Against Sanctuary Cities Act. At the end of the day, the American citizens know that open border policies don't work. I don't disagree we ought to address an expansion of legal immigration. I worked with President Trump and House Republicans back when we had Goodlet 1 and Goodlet 2, and actually a third bill that was being worked on under Paul Ryan's speakership with all the leadership and every group within the Republican conference to actually address the issues of expanding legal categories, legal immigration categories to allow more folks to come in legally. But we're talking about illegal immigration. It is illegal to cross our border. It's against federal law to come across into our country without a visa, without a permission slip to come into this country. And that's what's happening. By the millions now under this administration have entered our country, and they've been released into this country. Every state's a border state now because you have illegal immigrants not just walking across the southern border into Texas, Arizona, California, New Mexico, but they're actually being transported into states all over the country. And that's wrong, and the American people know it's wrong. This is the biggest issue we need to face. It's time for Congress and the Biden administration to get serious about our southern border. The lack of seriousness from this administration and the failure to execute the laws and the Constitution I mentioned earlier are why I support and have co-sponsored articles of impeachment against Secretary Mayorkas and President Biden for failing our country and their constitutional duties to protect every state against invasion. And while I look forward to the return of President Donald Trump, who will once again help make America safe and secure by securing our southern border. And with that, I yield back.